Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Sonal's life. So, I didn't know if I was going to do this video, but I put a poll up on my Twitter, @wrestling_chat, you should follow me, and here I am. So basically, back in August 2019, I went to see New Japan Royal Quest, and honestly, one of the best days of my life. However, a few months later, so maybe take like 6 or 7 months, the world went into a lockdown because of COVID. And literally there was been pretty much no wrestling shows on in the UK. Until now! So, after pretty much 2 years, I finally went to my first wrestling match live in person on the weekend. I went to see Revolution Pro Wrestling's 9th anniversary at the Victoria Warehouse. And all of you seem to want a sort of review of it because I couldn't vlog it. So here is a look at all the matches that happened, my experiences, and really just how amazing a show it was. So let's get going. So as expected with a wrestling show, there are a few changes to the card. So we actually started with a fight for the undisputed RevPro Cruiserweight Championship, and it was between Robbie X, so someone I know very well from the independent scene, and someone who I absolutely love watching pretty much all the time, the champion Michael Oku. Now, as expected, it was literally the best way to start the show. Like, you have two high flyers with tons of charisma, and to sort of edge me, like, put me back into what it's like to be at a wrestling show, it was amazing because you guys know how much I love junior and cruiserweight wrestling. I took my mum, and even she was there like, oh, because obviously with a junior heavyweight match, you know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get Spanish flies, you're gonna get flips, but as expected, you're gonna get strikes, you're gonna get chops, and it literally, the sounds of the ring and obviously the getting hit on the flesh echoed in like this massive warehouse, and it was so good. It was fast paced but without being too much. It had the right amount of slow and fast to sort of give nice levels, and in the end Michael Oku retained. And honestly, it was such a phenomenal match. Like, I know I always praise like the juniors in Japan, but even in here in the UK we've got some of the best. It was meant to be a three-way with Chris Ridgway, but he couldn't appear. Even without that, the one-on-one between two amazing baby faces in the UK was phenomenal. And I literally do not have enough good words to say about it. We then had I'm trying to see if I can remember it all in the right order. We had a singles women's match between Hyan, who literally, I'll say this about pretty much, it was the first time I watched her wrestle and she was phenomenal, versus, let's see if I can get this right, Sky Smithson of the Legion, which is a faction in RevPro. Now, I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, these two women I've heard of, but I've not actually watched properly. And you know what? It was a proper babyface versus heel match. So, Sky came out with Gideon Grey to start with, who is the leader of the Legion. If anyone knows, he used to be the manager for Okan when Okan was here on excursion. And yeah, for me, Hyan had that pure babyface, like, spirit in her. She was so, like, energetic. She was so, like, charismatic. And I'm not gonna lie, I want her ring gear. I want to be her because she is stunning. As expected, despite all the cheating and stuff, Hyan got the win in the end. And again, showcases just how good British female wrestling is in the UK. I feel like I mixed them up, but I think maybe the other match, another match on the card was between Adam Maxted. So if anyone doesn't know, he was actually on Love Island. He was also on World of Sport Wrestling when that was on in the UK, versus Dan Maloney. So at first the crowd was pretty much for Dan Maloney. However, once Adam Maxted got in the ring and Maloney started to sort of cheat his way out, so he got out of the ring not wanting to wrestle. And you know what, Adam Maxted, he is a handsome fellow, but he can really wrestle. He has come on leaps and bounds since the guy I watched on World of Sport. He is now trying to cement himself as a babyface, which I think works for him. And I'm going to compare him to guys like Okada and Jeff Cobb. He is so tall and so big that you expect him to have this certain style. But like Jeff Cobb, he is doing moonsaults off the top rope. At one point I thought his head was going to hit the ceiling. And Dan Maloney also had this more British style, so it's more like ground based, but also did a phenomenal job. And I think, yes, it wasn't a big title match, but like Hyan and Sky, it was a really nice way to get the crowd excited. And yeah, in the end, even though Dan Maloney won, I think that happened. Honestly, it's still a blur because it was so amazing. I think both guys really gained the respect of the crowds there. And yeah, another amazing match. The next bout was the return of Aussie Open. So for anyone who doesn't know Aussie Open, I mean, how do you not know Aussie Open? Where have you been? They are a tag team from Australia who have basically killed the UK scene. Like, they are basically one of our own. And they were up against the Mancunian duo of the Young Guns, who Mancunian crowd, and especially British crowds, have really started to fall in love with them. Now, even going in, my mom remembers Aussie Open, mainly because she remembers Kyle Fletcher as the guy with the hair who fought Jay White at the last Revolution Pro show we watched in 2018. I know, very memorable. And then since then, we've seen them at Royal Quest. I saw them at Tuesday Night Graps. They literally went in the firm favourites, because obviously they're veterans of the trade. However, these Young Guns, if you've not seen a match of them, because it was my first time, go on YouTube and watch them. Yes, Kyle is really tall. Mark is like a big build man. But these two young guys, I mean, I think they must be younger than me, literally put up one of the biggest fights of their life. They were taking Dungzilla's chops like they meant nothing and gaining momentum from them. They were taking Kyle's strikes and they were giving it back with their own style. What I always love about Aussie Open is that they are basically I would say they're like a never openweight tag team. Kyle is much skinnier, whereas Dungzilla, Mark Davis is the weight and the strength of the team. But they work perfectly together, and they were also really charismatic. Just like these Young Guns, who, this is probably one of the very few matches they've had in front of crowds because of the pandemic. And they literally shined. At the end, of course, Aussie Open got the win, but they showed a sign of respect to them. And although the Young Guns stuck their middle finger at them, which fair props to them, it was an amazing match. And I know I keep saying this, but my mom's not a huge wrestling fan, but even she went, like, she loved that match because she does love tag team wrestling. And every time she sees Aussie Open, she just can't help but smile. Now we got up to some more title matches. Whether I'm going to say them in order, I don't actually know, because sometimes my brain gets a bit jumbled. But we did actually have a title match for the RevPro tag team titles, and it was basically the culmination of their tag tournament. The team we had, it was the team of the Legion, so 2 of them, and then a team called, give me a second, Destination Everywhere. I don't know if I can remember, I don't know why I couldn't remember it. And in that team, they also had the Cruiserweight champion Michael Oku, who had literally gone through hell in the first match. And it was a great match. Like, another great tag team match. Yes, you had Oku going in, very much injured, very much feeling the effects of the previous match. And then you had these heels in the Legion. They were literally very big men compared to very 2 small, skinny Cruiserweight men. But you know what? You sort of know how it's going to go. It started off, they were targeting Oku's knee. There was a bit of a tension between the Destination Everywhere when Oku accidentally hit his partner with the Cruiserweight belt rather than his opponents. But at the end of the day, we saw some amazing strength wrestling, some amazing Cruiserweight wrestling. And Destination Everywhere got the win, meaning Michael Oku is now holding 2 belts, and they managed to beat 2 very big men. And you know what I like about this sort of thing is that, yes, going into it, Destination Everywhere should have been the underdogs. Not just because of the injury, but because of their size. But as always in wrestling, it is that heart and passion that comes out on top at the end. So, like the first match, the second one also had a change to card. So it was for the RevPro Women's Championship. And it was initially meant to be the champion Gisele Shaw versus Zoe Lucas. However, it changed and it soon became her partner Mariah May versus Gisele. Now, they are a faction. Mariah came out with her 2 cronies, who obviously in her team. Gisele Shaw came out like amazing. I've watched her so many times before. She is strong, she is powerful. And like the other match, the tag team match, it was very babyface versus heel, maybe like stepped up more. So Mariah had her 2 cronies basically helping out at every corner. So hitting Gisele with a belt. I think they did a pile driver. They might have done like a TKO that Sonata does. But Gisele kept fighting, and it was a really good match, like showcasing their personalities as well. And I wish I had more stuff to say because it was amazing. It was nice dynamics, a perfect mix of storytelling and wrestling, which compared to the other matches, this had a lot more of. However, in the end, Mariah got a nosebleed, and I think they had to cut the match short. But that's not to tear away from it because it was an amazing match. And after that, Gisele was like, I'm going to take any comers, and Hyan from the earlier match came out, and that is probably going to be the next match. And holy God, if I get to see that, I probably won't because it won't be in Manchester. But it is going to be amazing because they are two women who are so strong, so powerful, and literally I want to be them. Like, they are phenomenal. And now the matches you've been waiting for, because we have got some New Japan boys coming up. The first match was for the RevPro British title, and it was the veteran that is Doug Williams versus Will Ospreay. So after his little shenanigans at Resurgence last week, he's come back to the UK to defend his title against a man who was willing to retire because he said he was proud of everything going on in the UK, and Ospreay went, that is a disgrace. Now, Doug came out to basically like a hero's welcome. He is a man who has been in the industry for so long. However, what surprised me was Ospreay. So yes, there were some people who stuck to Ospreay, obviously being a very interesting character. However, he also got a hero's welcome. If you think back, he went to Japan. He won the IWGP World Championship. To be fair, he did bring the fake one as well, and it looks pretty damn similar. When these two, so it's actually the first meeting between these two ever, which is crazy, but holy God, was it an amazing match. Doug Williams is 48 years old, as someone in the crowd very nicely shouted at us. Not at us, but you know what I mean. But he went like he was a young lion. He was taking chop. He was taking Will Ospreay's very dynamic offense. And surprisingly, Will was very high-flying, sort of more of the aerial assassin for pretty much a lot of the match. He was flying outside. He threw this grown old ass man into a barricade and nearly flung him over into these two children on the other side. They are okay, don't worry. But that's not to say that Doug Williams just let himself get beaten up. He has a hard noggin. He went up to the top rope, suplex Will, after headbutting him. He took Spanish flies, he took kicks, he did everything humanly possible. And in particular, what I love was this heart that Doug Williams had. He's not been in the industry for so long just to brush off an opportunity like this. Obviously, in the end, Ospreay got the win with his hidden blade. Just the hidden blade, which is weird because I was waiting for, like, I knew the Os Cutter wasn't going to be his finisher because we saw that in the match. But I was waiting for the Stormbreaker and it didn't happen. Ospreay obviously came out. He had his Versace robe. The pink one, which looks a bit like he got it from Primark and like something off EastEnders. But as he came out and he went onto the ramp, Shota Umino's music hit for his title match. And oh my God, my heart was racing. Like I said, 2 years ago I went to see Royal Quest. And Shota Umino was in the first match, obviously opening the show as a young lion. I met him before the show as well. And now I was seeing him 2 years later main eventing for the RevPro Undisputed British Heavyweight title. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, it was so emotional. He came out, stared Ospreay in the eye, stared at that heavyweight title, which is obviously not, you know, the World Heavyweight one, the IWGP one. Because he was like, that's not the right one. But he came out and the crowd went crazy. Like, I've never seen a pop so big in a wrestling ring. Maybe the one for Minoru Suzuki at Royal Quest. And he came out embracing the crowd, was like fist pumping. I got a fist pump. I got a fist pump. And I'm just going to put a quick picture of what he looked like here. A fist pumping up was moving together. My heart was going like that. I had my phone out with my little Shota banner. I didn't bring the actual notepad because I was like, I don't want it to get damaged. However, obviously the main thing was he had his match against Ricky Knight Jr. for the title. And my mum said it as well. Seeing Shota in the ring and what he was doing, he literally reminded me of Tanahashi. From his hair to his ring gear to his offense. He was throwing like your usual like young lion stuff, so he had sort of like the kicks, the Boston Crab, the simple stuff. But there was so much more flash to it. And when I say he looked like Tanahashi, he wrestled like Tanahashi too. He had things where he was going on the top rope, but then he was striking. And it seemed like a very much an Ace hybrid style, which combines Japanese strong style and a bit of the spicy, which is obviously what Shota did. I know there was one moment where Ricky Knight Jr. actually did a move on Shota, threw him outside. I thought my heart was dropping. I was like, oh my baby Shota. Like I said, Ricky Knight is a phenomenal wrestler, and everything that Shota gave, he threw back at 100%. Like, he's not the champion for no reason. And I just like, I don't even know if I actually got to properly watch the match properly. I didn't know if I actually managed to see the match properly, because I was just so much in awe of Shota. Like, yes, some people thought maybe he's been pushed a lot since he's come to RevPro, but if you see him now compared to what he was like in New Japan as a young lion, he has come leaps and bounds. And honestly, I couldn't be prouder of him. Seeing, basically, when I started watching New Japan, he had literally just started his young lion career, so it was just as Uemura and Tsuji were coming, so they were sort of now the senpais in that system. And to see him now without the black trunks, metaphorically, because he had very flashy ring gear on, melted my heart. In the end, he didn't get the win, unfortunately, but even Ricky Knight Jr. gave him a sign of respect. And after that, Will Ospreay came out and Ricky Knight Jr. was like, I want your title. Because basically, for people who don't know, there used to be a promotion called Southside, and they had their belt, and then we got the RevPro, so maybe at some point they're going to unite it, but I don't think I really paid much attention to that post-match promo, because all I could think was, time to tweet about Shota Umino. But yeah, I know this is probably a very long video, and a lot of fangirling about Shota Umino, but it was, for my first show back, it couldn't have been any better. I was very nervous with a big crowd, but it was nice and open. The matches kept me invested, and it proves that, you know what, despite everything, British wrestling is still one of the best in the world, and I can't wait to see what RevPro is like. And who knows, you know, my dream might come true one day for me to be a ring announcer for one of those companies. But yeah, if you want to see the show, RevPro normally put it on demand, and it should be out soon on their streaming site. Make sure to go and watch it. And if you were there, let me know what your favourite matches are and what you thought of Shota Umino. Like I said, I don't know how well this is going to do, because I don't know how many of you are watching this because you like RevPro or whether it's just for Shota. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this video. And as always, remember to like, share and hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!